This is a story about my great grandmother Carol, as told by her youngest daughter, my Aunt Cathy, which also does talk about my grandfather when he was a little boy. Pardon the sounds of dogs, birds, horses, or anything else that may come about, because I decided to come outside because it is such a beautiful sunshiny day today. But here we go. My great grandmother Carol. One day, while heating a kettle of hot water over an open fire, Howard, my grandfather, her 4-year-old middle son, fell into the fire and severely burning his leg from knee to ankle. She plunged it into kerosene to add the healing to allay the infection. That night, his temperature began to climb. They loaded the suffering child into a horse-drawn wagon and rode 10 miles in the winter night to a doctor. The scene was repeated when Howard later split his foot open, almost in half, and nearly lost it from infection. When she was perhaps 8 years old, my great-grandmother, she remembered a day after both parents had died that a party of Indians rode up to her house. This is when that part of Oklahoma was still known as Indian territory. She had recalled that her and her brothers and sisters went outside and simply stared at each other. Finally, she said, the Indians turned and rode away. I never saw her become rattled, no matter what the circumstances. She acted rather than reacted, or simply kept her silence. She spent countless hours alone throughout her life. Perhaps this is why she poses such a great inner strength. She had time to sort things out, only with God as her guide. She lived day at a time, and when things seemed to fall apart, she simply kept on going. A good example of what it was when my great-grandfather, died unexpectedly. She had an 11-year-old child, 160-acre farmland, livestock, and chickens to care for. Up until this point in her life, she had not been allowed to make any major decisions. She continued on the farm for 4 years, only to move because of the continuous arguing with her children. Upon leaving the farm at the age of 57, she moved to Lawton, Oklahoma, where she found a job on post laundry at nearby Fort Sill. It was the first time in her life to be gainfully employed. It was a miserable job. Working over steam presses, even outside temperatures was 100 degrees or more. She would come exhausted, but happily chattering about her fellow employees. Later, she worked as a maid at cleaning other people's homes. She still remained cheerful, perhaps because she was no longer lonely. It was around her 72nd birthday she had found out she had cancer of the colon. During her initial surgery, the doctors had discovered cancer to be very well developed. And after taking only enough of the tumor for a biopsy and then sewed her up, a week later the results indicated the tumors were non-malignant. So they operated again and removed all of the tumors that were possible to remove. The 2 major surgeries within a 2-week period took its toll on her strength. Later biopsies revealed the tumors were malignant after all. She, too, knew this without being told. Ensuing left her nauseous and weak, which was a drug. But she wouldn't go to the Oklahoma City Hospital, where hospital facilities were newer and better equipped. Doctors were capable of providing better treatment. She said it was more convenient for her family to visit her in Guthrie than in Oklahoma City. One day, months later, when she was suffering with excruciating pain, she quietly said that if she had to do it all over again, she would have gone to Oklahoma City. By then it was too late. Her only real complaint at the end of her battle was, I don't understand why he just doesn't take me on home, meaning God. On September 20th, 1966, she died.